Hello again YouTube, and welcome to episode 11 of our No Man's Sky Let's Play series. Now today's video is kind of a second parter to the first video that I brought out, the most recent one, where basically I tackle everything I can related to the fleet, freighter and frigate system within No Man's Sky Next. Now in the last three patches, Hello Games really do try and tackle some of the bugs involved with frigates and freighters, but I will say there are still some very obvious bugs there. If you didn't see my first video, I recommend you check it out. I'm going to put a card up in the corner for you right now, and you will see a lot of those bugs that I tackle along the way and a lot of the problems that I encounter. Now in today's video you're going to see a lot more success in terms of how much I learn about the fleet system, and I work very heavily towards getting that ultimate goal, creating the best Sky Posse I possibly can. Lastly, I just want to say thank you for all the support you guys have been giving me, because honestly it's just been absolutely overwhelming. I have come very close to that first 1,000 subscriber goal, and obviously that goal is very important to me as a content creator, and it's very important to anyone who's starting out within YouTube. And when I hit that milestone, it's obviously going to mean a lot to me, and I think I'm going to hit that milestone a lot sooner than I anticipated, and it's all thanks to the support that everyone out there has been giving me. So I just want to say I'll continue to keep doing the things that I'm doing, and you guys keep doing the great stuff that you guys are doing by liking, commenting, subscribing, and hopefully we get to that milestone really soon. And I hope you guys enjoy today's video. Let's see if we can recruit better. It just means more work, doesn't it? I'm going to find more frigates and I'm just going to create more work. C-class industrial. Well, we need more industrial. We need more trade more than anything. We'll take the industrial because we're getting mostly combats all the time. Let's just have a quick look-see. There was another possible recruitable. Never mind. No more recruitables, it looks like. Let's go to our own capital ship. And let's send some of these mofos out. It'd be really interesting to see how far we can actually make this go. How big this fleet can grow, and if we can actually make these frigates get a lot better over time. It will also be interesting to see if I've got anything to look back at in the control room here. Speak with the commander. Expedition has covered 1,445 light years, and estimate our plotted route will take a further 2 hours and 27 minutes. Inspect the ships. They're all doing fine. They're all doing fine. So we should expect good results from that. Debrief. Oh, this one's done. Yeah, okay. In the expedition, 70,000 and lemium. Wow, how boring. How boring. Let's get some more expeditions going. This is a 3-star, oh yeah? Well, we can probably do this now that we've just recruited expedition. An industrial focus, so we'll put some industrials in there. Okay, we're good. We're good. Just a balanced one left over. Let's do it. Do it. We'll get... Get a couple of these guys on there. Still a 1-star fleet. Oh, goodness me. Let's do that. I don't know how they're going to go. That seems like a lot of fuel for a 1-star. And you know what? I'm just going to leave it. It's not even going to be worth it. So, we are going to fly up and over my base. This base. And we're going to head to my capital ship. So, over the course of the last few days, I've done a lot of work and research and just fiddling around with this new fleet system that is in the current version of No Man's Sky Next, and I will say that I learned a lot in this time. I wanted to share with you guys exactly what it was that I have learnt along the way, and I wanted to clarify a couple of things that I had obviously missed along the way and I wasn't too sure of. And you know, I'm the sort of player where I do love to know exactly what's going on, but at the same time, sometimes I like to figure things out organically and just get surprised as they happen. And I have been trying to do that with this fleet and frigate system, and since this recording, since the last couple of days of recording, I now have a lot more understanding as to how the expedition system works, and I'm going to give you guys as many tips as I possibly can in order to help you guys grow your fleet into becoming a Sky Posse, just like mine will eventually become. And we're gonna try and clarify a lot of things that seemed quite blurry over the last couple of videos. So let's move on. Let's go into this. So what I've done is I've actually created a command room close by on each side, and I've proceeded to make the areas where I've got command rooms red. And the reason why I've done that is because everything just looks the same otherwise. So now I know that as long as I've put red here, that there will be another command room. So the first point to think about with fleets and with the frigates and expeditions is that each command room is the equivalent of one expedition. So if you're going to have a big enough fleet where you're going to be going on multiple expeditions at once, then obviously you're going to need multiple command rooms. Now you'll also see when you're looking at the command rooms something on the screen indicating that you're in the middle of an expedition or there's one that's completed or something like that. Generally this little thing that you see here on the left, that will show the commander of your fleet who's looking after your fleet. You'll also see a picture of all the different frigates and ships that you've sent out on your fleet, and you'll be able to go through this managing the expedition. You'll be able to talk to the commander if you're mid-fleet, if there's any damages, all that sort of thing. Now through this system as well, you can also go to the different planets and solar systems and stuff that the actual fleet has gone to on the expedition. You can also do this if they require help with combat or if they require repairs, or sometimes you can just bring them back early if they are too damaged and the crew can't actually help. So this is something really important because this is something I've missed along the way, and I kept getting damaged frigates back all of the time and I didn't really understand exactly how that worked. So I've gone ahead and I've built a few command rooms around the place, and you can see that they're all there in red. And outside of that, I'm now going to show you guys how to manage your fleet, how to upgrade your frigates, and how to understand how the expeditions are refreshing as well. So if I go to my expedition guy, I'm hoping it's that time of day. It should be that time of day where everything is refreshed, and it is. So you're going to get, very unfortunately in my situation, because I would prefer there to be a lot more 3-star rating expeditions, but you're going to get a refresh every single day. And we're talking real days. We're not talking in-game days. These refreshes are just like daily missions, I suppose. You just call them daily missions. So it's in your best interest to send all of your frigates out as often as you possibly can. And to do this, you need to obviously be taking advantage of as many of these during your day before the refresh as possible. So your expeditions will have a title, and they are things like balanced, combat, and industrial. Now, a big mistake that happened in my video that literally just ended and I'm cutting into right now is that on a balanced expedition, you really need to be sending, and I'll just go into this one here, you really need to be sending kind of one of everything. You don't want to send a whole heap of combat, which is what I did in the last one, and that was obviously a mistake. You want to send maybe one industrial, one combat, you want to send maybe one trade, and one exploration, and you send those all together and you create a much higher star rating within your fleet. So the other thing to notice is that you've got obviously your different classes of your fleets, and you've got these little dots in progress here. So those dots, they can either be red or they can be blue. Red obviously means something bad and blue means something good. And I'm going to show you guys through the fleet management, and I think that's over this side here. exactly what those dots mean. So let's have a look at this guy. So firstly, these are all the different additions that he has to his ship. So he's got plus 15 combat as a combat specialist. He's got a metal detector, which gives him 2 industry. He's got -6 expedition fuel cost. So those solar panels that he's got on there actually helps with the fuel cost involved. And he's got damage reduction as well. So those are all positive things that are within that actual frigate. And you can obviously rename here. And also through this screen that you see in the list, you can use the delete key. And if we're looking at a controller, it's pushing down the right analog stick on your PlayStation or Xbox controller. So otherwise known as R3, I think, on Xbox. And it's the delete key. So if you're looking at keyboard, whatever you've got assigned to delete, that's the key that you can use to actually remove some of these guys from your frigate list. Now, I made the mistake of removing a couple of support frigates, and support frigates generally will have really low stats in everything. They won't have any high numbers within these numbers at all. And the reason why they have that is because from what I'm reading and from what I'm learning, the support frigates will actually lower the fuel cost of your expedition. And some people believe, I'm not sure if it's actually true, but some people actually believe that if you send support frigates along the way as well, they can help with things like repairs. So it's good to pick up support frigates if you find them. And as a matter of fact, I intend on removing some of these low-rated combat specialists out of my fleet, because I don't need them. I need more of the supports. I need more trade. I need a few more industrial and exploration, but I've got a lot of combat here. So let's remove some combat. I'm going to get rid of this guy here. So once again, this guy has 20 combat, so he's a combat guy. He's only a C class. I'm happy to get rid of him, and we're going to hold on to that button, and he's just gone. Unfortunately, I see some units come back, but I don't think you get all the units back for removing that guy. It doesn't really, it's a very vague system, and I think there's something the Hello Games need to work on there. But basically, just like deleting something like your base parts or deleting something from your inventory, you get back a small portion of your investment for having that in there. So within your fleet, from what I can tell in the forums and from what I can tell through my gameplay experience, you can have a total of 30 frigates within your fleet. So that's 26. So I can technically, as far as I'm aware, have another 4 frigates, and we can go out and recruit another 4 frigates. And I'd be looking probably for a couple of supports and probably trade. Well, there's a couple of trade in there, so probably supports more than anything. And I'll be sending those guys on my balanced expeditions as much as possible. So going back over here now, we're going to send a couple of guys away. And these are, honestly, these are probably the worst I have had in my daily refreshes. So we'll choose the combat first because that's the highest star rating. We'll assign ships. Now the other thing is this equip upgrade modules. This is great for people who don't really have a large fleet. If you have a large fleet, I'd say this is just extra effort that's probably not required, but essentially that'll bump up the star rating of your fleet. So we're going to go in and we're going to choose, I really want these A guys to be upgraded to S. I have a feeling, and this isn't confirmed anywhere, a lot of people believe this is true, but I have a feeling that once you accommodate 4 of these positive blue dots, that once you hit 5, it just upgrades that frigate to the next class. So I'm going to send out 2 of these A class combats. I'm going to send out 1 of these B class combats, and I'm going to send out a C class combat. And you notice this guy has a red one on there. I'm gonna actually investigate that in a moment. So I'll send this one. Well, that's a 4-star, so that's way overboard. I think that's more than enough. My recommendation to you guys would be to take that difficulty rating and think of overachieving it. Match it at the very, very least, but you still have a significant chance of coming back with some problems. So you really want to compensate for that difficulty rating so that you're not coming back with problems. You probably saw in my first of these 2 videos the difficulty that I had repairing the frigates. It's a lot of hassle. You have to jump on board the frigate. You have to manually run over to every individual part. You have to take note of everything that's needed. Go back to your ship and make sure you pick up all the required resources. Go back over to the frigate and do it and install those little bits and pieces just in order to do a repair. And that's just for one. If you get a whole fleet come back and they're all damaged, then that's an entire fleet, or it's one entire group of frigates that you're going to have to repair. So be very mindful of the star rating. The difficulty system is very strict, and I would always overcompensate. The other thing to keep in mind is the fuel requirement. So the more ships that you're sending out and the further the distance, the more fuel requirement that's there. You can create fuel very easily. As long as you created a command room within your freighter, then it will give you the blueprints to create fuel. And you can create fuel in different quantities. So you can create fuel, I think it's 150 and maybe 25 or 20 or something like that. And you know, it's fairly easy. These are just all resources that you can pretty much pick up flying around shooting meteors and things like that. So that shouldn't be too hard. And then you just launch your expedition as I just did, and he'll acknowledge that that's done. Now I'm going to go back to managing the fleet, and I'm going to just quickly have a look at one of these guys here. So this has got 2 red. This is a trade with 2 red on there. Let's have a look on there. There we go. So that looks like these are 2 bad things. He's got -2 exploration and -2 industry. And so these are, all these dots are actually based around how the crew are. I think when you go on your expeditions, if you're unsuccessful or you come back damaged, then basically you can come back with one of these red markers, and that will be one of these 2 things. And as long as you continue on successful expeditions, then you will continue to have positive things on top of your frigate. And overall, I think once you hit 5 positive things, then you go up another class. So my crew are lazy. They're probably a little bit down about having such a bad time on one of their really bad expeditions, and you know, their radar is apparently haunted. So that's weird. Anyway, -2 exploration. So that's just something to think about. So really, he should be at 8 exploration there, and his industrial should be at 9. So these are the fuels. To craft the fuel, as I said, these are just things you pick up in the meteors. Dihydrogen's obviously something that you'll get on the planets, but if I were you, I would, when on the planet, when I come across dihydrogen, I would just pick up a lot of it in one go and just send it straight from your exosuit over to your freighter and just let it sit in there. These are all the materials that pretty much your freighter will use. You can use silver, gold. A lot of platinum is also required, and platinum's harder to come by. So if you're flying along the meteors and you see those meteors with the crystals coming out of it, that's usually platinum. Doesn't matter what color it is, it usually ends up being platinum. So I would say if you see platinum, pick up platinum when you're there. Dihydrogen from the planets, just send it to your freighter system, and everything else. So we're talking everything from tritium to gold and silver and platinum. All those things do come from the meteors, and you can just fly around and pick a lot of that up. Support specialist, just what I've been after. We'll see what happens. We wanted support, so let's take him. Well, that's going to round up the video for today, guys. I really hope the pain and effort that I went through in the last couple of videos really helps you guys as much as it did me in understanding the way the fleet system works now. I'll be sure to keep you guys updated on how the Sky Posse is actually going as an upgrade towards getting the entire fleet as an S-Class fleet. Now, if you enjoyed today's video, as always, hit that like button, and I'll see you in the next one.